I've always liked giving my ideas a home. It feels instinctive to have a specific place for my ideas and thoughts. And I'll even break the ideas down further into their rooms inside of the homes. And that's why I like folders. Folders are a nice and neat way for me to tuck my ideas and know exactly where they're at. But there is a problem with this approach. Because of the constant capturing of information, I end up with a sprawling neighborhood of notes. Ideas within a folder that is in a subfolder that is in another subfolder that is in another subfolder. And the complexity leads to me spending more time on managing the ideas rather than thinking about the ideas. So today, we're going to cover how I organize my notes inside my personal knowledge management system without using folders inside of the app Mem. We're going to cover understanding collections in Mem and their differences from tags. We're also going to cover techniques to find, add, and manage your collections. And then finally, the two types of notes that I use to structure my collections. Now, before we dive in, I do have a gift for you for hanging out with me today and watching this video. This is my free guide on how to take book notes on physical books and get those insights into your personal knowledge management system. This is all without using Readwise 2. It's a very methodical approach, and it works really well for me. By the end of the guide, you'll have a simple system for highlighting books, a mindful approach for adding content to your second brain, a process for creating building blocks of knowledge for the future, and also a simple tip for making more connections inside of your personal knowledge management system. The link to that free guide is in the description below. So what are collections? Collections are Mem's version of tags. They work like a tag in that a single note can be tied to multiple collections, right? You can manage your collections on your own by adding and removing content from inside of these buckets, these collections. But what's really cool is that Mem also gives suggestions on what other notes might belong in these collections. More on that in a bit. Something else that's really nice is that you can add descriptions on collections. This provides an extra layer of context for the purpose of the collection, which is nice in my opinion. Now, how do I add a collection inside of Mem? At the top of any note, you can use the add/link to, and you simply click that, and you can add a collection that you've already created, or you can start typing, and it will suggest that it would be a new collection. The other way that you can do this is while you're inside of the note and you're typing, you can use the @ symbol, and you can start typing the name of your collection. And finally, you can also add collections on the All Collections page. So on the left sidebar, if you go to the All Collections link right there, it's going to pull up this page where you will have all of your collections that you've already created, but there is a button at the top right that says New Collection. You click that, and you can add a collection right there. How can I view my collections? One of the ways you can view it is by search, right? So if you hit Command K, you can go up to the top right hand corner. You'll see the search bar right there, or the search button. I like shortcuts, so I do Command K. And you can search for your collections, and you'll know that it's a collection because of the icon that's next to it. All of them have the same icon, but it could be a different color. So that's how you know easily that it's a collection and the suggestions that it drops down with. The other way that you can view your collections is in the sidebar. Sometimes it'll show you most recent collections and the drop down there, or you can just simply go to All Collections and you will find all of your collections there. Another way that you can view collections is while you're in a note, you can see on the right hand side that what collections that this note is already attached to or included in. And sometimes it will show you, if there's only one collection, I believe, other collections inside of that collection. It will show you other notes inside of that collection. But if there are multiple collections that you have attached to one single note, it will show you collections this Mem is in. That's the title of the little section there. You can click on any of those and it'll take you directly to the collection on the right hand side. So you still have your note open, but you then have access to all of the notes inside of that collection, which is really nice. All right, how does Mem automatically recommend notes to add to your collections? With MEmX, this is the paid version, Mem will actually recommend notes within your personal knowledge management to add to your collections. What does this mean? Notes that you've forgotten about to tag are being resurfaced for you automatically, right? You don't have to worry about missing a note. This is incredible, and I love this. Also, ideas from other domains and or topics can bubble up to help you connect ideas between disparate topics that you are interested in, which is really cool. For example, a thought from your passion for ducks, could pop up as a note related to creativity or related to parenting. You never know, which is just really cool. Now, how does it work? So if you go to any collection, on the top half of the page are the notes already in that collection. The bottom half is the recommended section. And here is where Mem is providing some notes that could be related to that collection. All you need to do is hit the add button on the right hand side and it will add it to that collection. All right, lastly, how do I set up and use collections personally? I have two types of collections. One type is a Zettel, which is the German word for note, right? If you are familiar with Zettelkasten, this is where I get that from. This is a way for me to identify what type of note am I documenting. The other type of note are the hubs, and this is an area of interest from Tiago Forte. If you're familiar with his work and the second brain, is area of interest or a topic of interest, or it is a thought theme for me, or it is like I mentioned, it could be a book. Now you may be asking, why do I have Zettels as collections, the different types of notes? And the reason is I like to view my notes in various contexts. It gives me multiple perspectives, right? I can look at my creativity collection, which is a hub, or I could look at my quotes collection, which is a Zettel, it's a type of note, and find creativity quotes bumping against parenting quotes. And some new idea may spark. Ideally, every note gets at least one of these types of collections. And to make it easier for me, I've added little visual indicators to help me more easily scan and see what's a hub or a Zettel. And I did add a different visual indicator, even though books are considered hubs for me. I did add a visual indicator separate for those to help me identify what are the book notes and all that. So the Zettel type, you'll notice, has the brackets around the name of the collection. Hubs have a star or an asterisk before the name of the collection. And then books has the greater than symbol before the name of the collection. Now, let's take a look at some examples. Here's a note that I captured recently. This note has two hubs, process, and then the writing, thinking, and sharing. And then it has one Zettel, which is a literature note. Now, I can view this note in three different contexts, right? It's like having three different picture frames to wrap around this thought, and each frame could bring out something unique. That's what I love about having multiple ways to view the collections. Another example is this note, invest in activities that grow multiple skills. This was a thought that I had after my wife and I were helping the kids participate in their first farmers market, right? They were selling bracelets and keychains that they've made. And so I added it to the Zettel type Sparks because it was just a random thought that I had after experiencing that with them. And then I added several hubs that I felt that it was related to. So this goes along with a well life lived hub and the self-education hub and family hub and creativity. Now I can view this note in all of these different contexts. I can also view this note while looking at the different creativity notes in my collection. Or I could use the self-education and I can look at all the notes that I have in self-education to see, is there something that also, relates really well with this invest in activities that grow multiple skills. Well, I hope that was helpful for you. If you want to continue nerding out with me on personal knowledge management, check out this next video.